It's always been you versus you, or Rick versus Rick, Morty versus Morty, Summer versus Smorty. Wow, Summer versus Summer, Beth versus Beth, or Jerry versus Jerry. It's always been you versus you. That's just how it is. That's just how the world works. Even if you think that it's not, even if you think that it's people on the outside that are causing you pains and problems and issues and all these trials and tribulations, that's not true. Everything that's happening is because it's you fighting against yourself, instead of accepting yourself as you are. Once you start to accept yourself as you are, like let's say Rick decided to accept Rick Prime for who he was, then he wouldn't have had the feeling that he did at the end of season 7. He wouldn't have had this empty feeling. He thought that defeating Rick Prime and getting him out of his life would change everything. But as I talked about in a video a while ago where like the feeling remains the same, it's true. The feeling never goes away, regardless of how much you fight it or destroy it. Like it's always going to be there, regardless of what you do, until you face it and you accept it into your psyche, until you accept it into yourself. That's when you start to become free. However, most people don't do this because they've been looking on the outside of themselves. At least people that I've talked with, I personally myself used to do this as well too. I thought all the solutions were on the outside of me, and I've come to realize that that is not true. That's not the case. The real fact of the matter is that you are the root and the problem to all of your suffering and issues in this world and this existence. It's why you have to face yourself. It's why you have to face your own other versions of yourself, and that's basically what Rick and Morty is. Not even basically, that's what Rick and Morty is. It's about facing yourself. You think that it might be about going on adventures, but no. It's a story about facing yourself and overcoming yourself and realizing that there are multiple versions of yourself everywhere, anywhere, and at all places in all spaces and time. And it's a matter of deciding which one you are in a specific moment. This concept may be hard for you to understand. It was hard for me to understand for some time. I spent a lot of time meditating, biking, walking around just trying to understand this whole concept to begin with, because it's not a concept that is very easily understood by the masses, because we've always been told that maybe your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your boss, your coworkers, your colleagues are the problem. They're the reasons why you aren't able to succeed, why you aren't able to get a leg up. But what if I am to tell you, and that's what I'm telling you right now, is that that's wrong. The entire thing that you've been told this entire time is that you have problems on the outside of you, but you don't. All of your problems exist within. And if all of your problems exist within you, then what that means is that you can solve any problem that you have. If you have money problems, you can solve that money problem by giving yourself money, wealth, and abundance on the inside. If you have friendship problem, so you can solve that problem by giving yourself friends, colleagues, interactions on the inside. And then you'll start to see it happen on the outside. But you're too busy looking outside of yourself to realize that your own enemy, the one that you've been trying to defeat, has been within you. It's always been a battle of yourself. No matter what, no matter where you look, it's always been a battle of overcoming your own self-limiting beliefs, overcoming your own self-negative talk, overcoming your own limiting limitations. And that's hard to realize. I didn't understand it. And if I didn't understand it, and I've been studying this stuff for 6-7 years at this point in time. And if not even longer, I feel like I was even able to understand this as a kid, but I didn't fully understand or realize it because I had other people telling me that, like, hey, you know, your problems exist outside of you. Like, the reason why you don't have the money or the abundance or the job or the clients or the work or the views or whatever it is because it's outside of you. And the people aren't watching your videos and things like that, but that's not the case. It's because you didn't believe in yourself. You didn't believe that you could do these things, that you could stand up, that you could defeat, quote unquote, yourself, that you were capable of doing great things. You didn't believe that to be true. And yet now you do. And that's why things are starting to change. That's why the world's starting to evolve. That's why you're starting to have more confidence, higher self-esteem, higher intellect, higher ability to, like, say, communicate and ask questions and actually stand up for what you believe in, because you finally understand that it's always just been you versus you. And regardless, whatever you think that somebody else is thinking, they aren't thinking that thing. You're the one that's thinking that thing, because you can't get into the head of somebody else. I can't get into the head of you watching or listening to this video right now. You can't get into my head thinking this. Like, I mean, I'm kind of giving you a glimpse inside of my head by sharing my ideas like this, but that's basically all you get. I don't know what you're going to do with this information. I don't know where you're going to go with this information. I don't even know if this information is going to reach the right people. My hope is that it does. And I know that it will. And I know that the people that are truly interested in these types of things are still watching up until this point, which if you are watching up to this point and you haven't subscribed to the channel already, what are you doing, bro? It's a click of a button. You click, boop, and then all of a sudden, like, you're subscribed. You don't have to do anything else. You get my videos. You don't even have to watch any of the other videos if you don't want to, but, like, at least you'll have them on your screen if you want them to be on the screen. And who knows, with YouTube's algorithm, they might not ever actually even be on your screen at this point in time, which is also a good reason why you should also turn on that bell icon if you haven't done that already as well, too. It's really a matter of understanding that it is you versus you. You have to overcome any trials, tribulations, and struggles. And you might be thinking, well, like, I see all these people that are telling me these things about, like, oh, I have to overcome this, and, like, oh, the reason why you haven't gotten wealthy, or, like, you need to get a job, or you need to do all these things, whatever they're telling you. I don't know what people tell you. I know what people tell me, and, like, I was having a conversation with a guy last night around religion. He's a JW person, JW, Jehovah's Witness individual, who was helping me understand, like, some of the things that they believe. And this was the first time that I decided to kind of push back a little bit and be like, nah, dude, you're God. And he's like, no, I'm not God. Like, there's a God outside of me. And I asked him a question. It's always funny when I ask this question to certain people. It's like, within the Bible, there's a part in John, I don't remember the exact scripture or line, but it's just like the kingdom, ask and seek within, like the kingdom is within you. And everybody's like, no, well, actually the kingdom isn't within you. And I'm like, well, where's that coming from? Why are you saying that the kingdom is, like, it isn't within you? And it's like, well, because of other translations. And I'm like, well, where are those other translations coming from? Who's the one that gets to decide what translation is the right translation versus the wrong translation? And it's like, well, because this is just how it is. And I'm like, it's because everybody's trying to control you and realize that you yourself are God. You have the creation within you. You are Rick. You are the undefeatable being that you are. And yet, so many people seem to neglect that because they want to control you. Whereas I want to liberate you. I want to give you the freedom to help you understand that, like, you have the power within you. The kingdom already exists within yourself. You just neglect it. Rick, he didn't neglect it. He decided that he wanted to have that kingdom within himself. So that's what he did. And yet, people didn't believe him. People didn't think that they could also do the exact same thing. There's another episode that I can most likely will release around this topic as well too, around how when Rick and Morty, or Jerry and Rick, change minds and bodies, and he says something where it's along the lines of, like, you seem to say that, like, I was given this ability, and it's like, no, he learned it, just as I've learned all of these things as well too. Because I knew that when I had to come up with versions of myself, like I did last night, like I was just telling you, with the guy that was a JW witness, that was a version of me. And you might not understand this, and that's okay, and I may lose some people right now, but that's just part of it, because it will resonate with the people that it needs to resonate with. And that's all I can do. I can't have it resonate with everybody. Me having these conversations with him was me basically having a conversation with myself to be like, no, dude, like, these are my ideas, these are my beliefs, and these are the things that I have physically experienced and I know to be true, and you can also know them to be true as well too. But it was me facing myself. It was me facing a different version of myself, even though, and this is the tricky part, that they don't look like the other versions and conversations I have. It is just me having a conversation with myself, even if it doesn't look like me. Yet it is me, because it is just being, its awareness, its consciousness itself. And Rick and Morty, it's a lot easier to differentiate between, like, the same person, because, like, you see them drawn as the same person, even though they aren't the same person. Well, sorry, even though they are the same person. They are the same person when they look like the same person. In the real world, it isn't the same person. Like, when I was wanting to leave my job as well too, it was a battle against myself. I was trying to get all these other people to be like, hey, you should come start up with me. Like, you should just do this job with me. And it's because I was wanting and trying to convince myself that, yes, it was a good thing for me to leave a high-paying 6-figure job doing sales to give a go at YouTube full-time and be my own boss and see how it worked. And I had to have conversations with other people and have them, like, try and convince them to overcome the thing, even though it was me trying to convince myself to overcome the thing. You may realize this, maybe you don't realize this, and I hope that this video is going to help you realize that like, it's just you talking with you. It's you talking with different expressions of yourself on the external world to see, like, are you actually going to remain faithful? Are you actually going to remain true to the said thing that you've decided to endeavor and focus on? Or are you going to fall back into, like, the little ways that you used to be? I know that I'm not. Like, I hope that you don't either. Because it's all a journey, man. And it's all understand that, like, it's you having to overcome yourself. If If you can overcome yourself, then you can overcome anything. And when you can overcome anything, then you can do anything. You can be anybody. You can achieve anything that you want to achieve. You can talk, you can have the conversations, you can detach from the outcome, and you can just be happy as you are. You aren't searching for something. You aren't trying to obtain something. You're just you in this moment. And that's a powerful thing to have, because like I've sat out in the mountains, in the desert for years, meditating, listening, not having other scriptures or other ideas or things like that around the religious stuff. I was like, I'm just going to study it myself. And I found out that all there is this present moment. Me in this moment, you in this moment, us trying to overcome our own Rick Primes within ourselves. And once we do, and understand that like when we defeat that person, feeling remains. It feels good in the moment. Like, yeah, it's great. But then like, what do you do at that point afterwards? That's why I recommend you checking out the video that I did around the feeling. The feeling remains the same. And you can kind of take a look at that, because I think it's incredibly insightful. And you'll realize that like, even when you do defeat your Rick Prime, if you don't have a goal or something else to work towards, and if that's always been the thing that you've been working towards because it was out of anger and resentment and hatred, there's going to be no fulfillment. Now, if you do it out of love, care, compassion, a willingness to truly improve and influence the lives of others, if that's what you so decide to do, then at least at that point in time, it's the lifelong worthy goal. So I think that'll be the place that I wrap up. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that I maybe have missed, or if you think I'm a complete nutbag, then, I mean, comment those shit down below, because, yeah, I just find it interesting how other people think. I love being able to get other people's takes and ideas and perspectives on these things, because maybe you'll bring something to mind that, like, I didn't originally think of, or we can just have a discussion and talk about, like, how certain things that you once believed to be true aren't as true as you thought they were, and that everything actually truly exists on the inside of you and not on the outside of you. Awesome. That was a lot. I know it was, but you stuck through to the end, which means you're a real trooper, which means that you are going to make it, which means you're succeeding, and I'm happy for you in that regard. So I'll chat with you guys in the next video. If you have any questions, like I said, you can subscribe, comment, share it with a friend, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.